Hello, welcome to Revelator Alf on YouTube. Today I'm talking about my beloved West Ham. Yes, my club that's been turned into a poor daytime TV soap with three villains at the top. More villains indeed than a James Bond film, and more twists and turns than a Hitchcock thriller. Yes, the saga continues, as does the PR blunders, the misplaced tweets, and the deceptions and lies. And all the while, we have a fan base that is growing in anger and is growing in intensity, and they want answers and they want resolution. But there's also a growing legion of fans who want the current owners to pack their bags and buy a ticket to Never Never Land and never to be seen again. Yes, there are cries for bored out, get away from you. And there are also there's also a bit of dissension in the ranks amongst the fan base as well. You know, whether you're the bored in or the bored out. Quite frankly, I'm bored of the whole bored in, bored out situation. The fact of the matter is that most of the fans, or a growing number of the fans, would like to see this owner sell up and bring us better owners who are more ambitious and who will try and rectify the rights and rectify the wrongs and bring us a right. Unfortunately, there isn't a mechanism for us to do it. We can't force the board to sell up. They probably won't want to sell up because there's too much of that involved, so it's a bit of a moot point. So the whole board in, board out nonsense, well, it is a bit of a nonsense. And for us fans to actually be accusing other fans of whether you're a board in or board out is a bit of a nonsense. However, the notion of being bored in and bored out is quite interesting, because we have a bit of a dichotomy, don't we? We have some fans who are happy with the stadium, who are happy with our position, who are happy with our financial plight, and there are others who are totally against it. I would tend to fall in that other category, who are against it and have been totally disenfranchised with the whole process. But we cannot argue with the fact that many fans have been given the opportunity to go and see our beloved West Ham, where they didn't have the opportunity at Upton Park. Yes, those extra 20,000 seats have enabled lots of fans to go and see West Ham, and possibly lots of fans of other clubs to go and see West Ham. I won't say nothing more on that subject, but I think you know what I mean. But, you know, you're also getting a new environment and easier transport links and so on and so forth. But it isn't our home. It isn't a tangible asset. You know, so there are arguments for both sides. What we shouldn't be doing is, you know, fighting each other to see who is right and the might is right, and my opinion overshadows yours. I think so. Over the last few days, that has kind of died down a little bit, which is quite good. But I think we need to be united. With West Ham United, we need to have unified, you know, the fans together to hold the ownership, the board, accountable for what has gone on prior to the move, during the move, and after the move. All the problems with the stadium, the proximity to the pitch or the services at the stadium, the heritage, the tradition, but crucially as well, all the financial position of the club, the financial clarity, transparency, but also the lackluster performance, the apathy, the lethargy in the transfer market. What is going on? So we've also had, you know, the owners, especially Sullivan, and in the past as well Brady, although she has kind of dropped it down notch a little bit as well. You know, coming out on the social media or into the mainstream media, making lots of statements, even bringing on some of the pundits from broadcast media onto their side and having sympathy for the devil, so it may appear. But actually, we know the truth, and there's lots of lies, lots of deceptions out there. The fact remains that regardless of how sincere the ownership think they're being, whatever statements they are making, the fan base do not believe them. And this is the crux of the matter. It doesn't matter whether they're telling the truth now. The fact is that everybody thinks it's a lie based upon past performances. It's all about trends, you see. If you have a bad trend, then people will think you're always, in the wrong. If you have a good trend, then people will tend to think you're in the right. So here's one of the big problems. One of the ownership, the club that we have not addressed a lot of the issues. And now they're starting to backtrack a little bit, maybe running scared a little bit, maybe fearful a bit of the bad PR. What does that mean? Why are they fearful of bad PR? Well, there is a saying, there's no such thing as bad PR. Unfortunately, in business, there is such a thing as bad PR. And West Ham is a big business now, run at the top by Sullivan & Gold, and they're bringing in the money, raking in the money, aren't they? And Brady seems to only be interested in the business side of it and not in the club side of it, and certainly not in the football side of it. Why would she? I mean, she's never proclaimed to be a West Ham fan and never shown any genuine interest in our affairs. So we've got to ask ourselves, are these the people that we really want to be running our club? Well, from my point of view, actually, I don't want them to leave. I don't want them to leave because I actually want to, I want to pull my bow with the arrow in it, and I actually want to hold them accountable. I want to put them against the wall, in the metaphorical firing squad, and I want them to tell us what's gone wrong, and I want them to own up to the problems, and I want them to fix it. My problem is this. With the board out campaign, which I sympathise with, which I kind of agree with, is that if our owners decide to sell up, what state are they going to leave us in? What new owners will come in? Are they going to be any worse? But most importantly, and from my point of view, we cannot hold the new owners accountable for the errors and all the lies from this current administration. We just can't. They will just be coming in with a clean slate, which may be to our benefit, which may be fantastic, may be the best thing. And the board out guys will be completely vindicated, but it may not. For the board in people, well, actually, what we're really saying about the board in people, most would just say, well, we're happy with it, we're lost, we're happy with the new stadium, we're happy with the football, we're happy with the level of investment, so on and so on and so forth, we're happy with the transport links, whatever it is. They're happy with the badge, they're happy with the global branding, whatever it is. So, if we had new owners, actually there wouldn't really be a lot of change for them then. So actually you still have the board in people there, you still have the board out that have got the old owners out, and they've got new owners in, so they'd be board in as well, for a certain amount of time. But at the end of the day, none of the issues have been resolved, and quite crucially, I'd still be a miserable old sod because I want justice and I want my issues resolved. Anyway, back to the football. One thing I will say about our team, we've had a real topsy-turvy season. Lots of woes, lots of lows, and few highs. Certainly that's been going for the last couple of seasons. But I've got to say that Moyes has got to be given a lot of credit for what he's tried to do with our club. He's steadied it a little bit, made it a bit more organised. Yes, it hasn't always been flamboyant, it hasn't always been attractive, it hasn't always been, attacking football, entertaining football, which we would like, which we yearn for, but he has made us harder to beat, although we have had a few spankings along the way. He has tried to bring a group of dysfunctional players and also missing a lot of players through injury, and he's tried to bring them together to put out some kind of performance. It hasn't been really that consistent. It certainly hasn't been a fabulous football or the beautiful game. But we are starting to get there. I think we can get behind the team, which we always are, but certainly get behind the manager, which I think we all are in agreement that he's doing a great job considering the limitations that he's had. But you know, obviously he's come under quite a bit of criticism, especially from myself as well, over some of his tactics and everything. But that's all part of the game. You know, he accepts his deficiencies and also the deficiencies in performances, and we can see that as well. But I think, you know, we would be best served certainly to keep him for a while. Is he the long-term solution? Who knows? You know, will he bring us that attacking football? Who knows? It's a big question. You know, I think he's got the potential to do it, but it's not his natural guys, and I certainly revert to the default position of trying to be defensive and making us secure at the back and stop us leaking goals, which is one of his first mandates when he came in, to stop the rot, stop leaking the goals, and make us harder to beat and actually keep us in the Premiership. If he does that for the season, the season end, I think, you know, we should give him a go. For another season, another couple of seasons, and see how we fare, because I think he deserves it, considering all the problems that he's had. Okay, so I'll see you next time for another Revelator Ralph. Cheers.